Hey guys, how are you doing today? Today we're going to talk about a new finish at Bisou Boutiques called Satin Matte Gold. And this is an example of it. You're probably familiar with the old RGP or Russian gold plate finish that we had for a long time. And it was a special love of mine because I love vintage jewelry. But try as I might, I couldn't really get it to catch on as I would have liked. As much educating as I did, people really wanted a really nice gold plating. But I do vintage finishes, so what to do? Well, we compromised. We came up with satin matte gold, which is not a cheesy, bright, cheap looking gold plate. This is 18 karat gold in the bath, 3 mils thick over the brass. It's made from the vintage tooling in the United States. It is also nickel free. It also presents some patina colorization opportunities for us. And so today, since we're phasing out the RGP for those who love that, we're going to show you some opportunities that you now have using satin matte gold plated finish. And your world's just going to open up because I found a lot of cool things that I could do today, and I'm going to share them with you here. Today, some options that I found for putting a little bit of color over the satin matte gold, if you prefer to do that. And of course, it's beautiful the way it is. I mean, come on, that's gorgeous. It's got like this shimmering thing going on. It's beautiful. But say, you know, do you just want some definition? So we can totally do that. And I'm going to show you one way. It's just by using simple acrylic black paint. You can get it at any craft store. I also like this Delta soy paint, which is a really cool antique brown type that you could use, or any other antique brown that you like. I also found that the swelligant brass and bronze metal coatings work extremely well over these findings. And then also you have the option of good old gilder's paste. I have African bronze here, I have white, and I have patina. And you can see some examples that I have done with those. This is just the patina. This is the piece before. This is the piece after. Just the patina applied over top and then sealed with Krylon matte acrylic spray. You can really use any clear sealant that you like. That's my favorite. We don't carry it at the website because I don't ship aerosol, but it's simple to find. Just go to the hardware store. So there's one option, which is really, truly lovely. And then another option might be simply putting white gilder's paste over this very rich gold plating. Here it is before, here it is after. Let me get my hand out of the way. And I have gloves on because we're going to be using the paint, and I want to keep my fingernails looking good, so not that they look that great, but oh well. So there's another. And then this is the before, and this is the after. This simply has applied a layer of swelligant brass metal coating, which we carry at this site. And we've done a lot of videos on that. This one has swelligant bronze metal coating. Just simply, I just put my finger in there and apply it and wipe it out and buff it out with a buff rag. That's all I do. This one, of course, looked like this previous. Now it looks like this. This has an application of soy paint in the brown. I think it's cocoa, it's called there. And then I wipe that off with a rag, and then with my little brushes, I found that the Susan Leonard Casimir brushes that go with the ice enamels work really good for this kind of work. They're so inexpensive. I think they're $2.25 at our website for 10 of them. You can throw them out or you can wash them out. I would advise you to get some because they're so handy for your workshop. This is what I used. So then I applied a little bit of a coat, brushed on with the African bronze. This is done, first it initially looked, you know, bright like this, But I took the black and went over this thoroughly. Then I buffed it out, and then I kind of wiped it out a little bit with one of these little brushes, and then I did a light coat of the African bronze, which gives it sort of an olivey, aged, rich look. So that's a really cool thing. And of course I did the back too. You'll want to do that because then you'll have, you know, really bright backside and a, you know, patina color front side, and it won't look so hot. So be sure that you do front and back, and then of course when you do the back you must seal the back as well. This one looks like this, first of all. Looks like maybe a little bit of the plating didn't take so well on that. Look like this. This is just the black acrylic gloss, and then wiped out. And then I think I did a little bit of this African bronze over it. This has bronze swelligant, buffed out, and then I applied a little bit of African bronze over it. So that gave us kind of a unique look too. So what do you say? Let's have a little fun and do some of this for ourselves now on camera so that you can see exactly how I did it. So let me remove these and just leave the ones that have nothing on them. Okay, now I'm going to get a clean brush because these have stuff on them, which I can use them again for that color, but I think I want a clean one. I left these in the packaging so that you could remember what they are. They're from the iced enamels. Okay, so it's a really cool little angled brush. Very, very nifty. Gets in those cracks and crevices. Believe me, you want these. You're going to be really glad you got them. But it's very simple. Now, if you wanted to, you could thin your Gilder's paste with a little bit of mineral spirits, but it's really not necessary when you're working with a brush. You can just wipe it, as I'm doing. I hope you can see that clearly. I'm trying so hard to do better with my video technique. Okay, and now I'm going to apply it. And you're probably going to want to do possibly 2 layers of this. But you can see how it's coming if I lift it up. So you're going to have to go over this a few times. Thinning with a little bit of mineral spirits, turpentine, whatever, might not be a bad idea to get this liquefied a little bit if you're going to use the white. I've seen the white is a little bit more stubborn to apply. And then of course too, if you have excess, you'll wipe that off. Let me get out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. It's so easy. Anyone can do this. I always tell people not to be concerned because I don't do anything hard. Anything I do, you can do. I am the kindergarten teacher of jewelry craft. But you know what? You never forget your kindergarten teacher. So it's all good. I'm fine with it. Now you know, after this dried, you could even do a little bit of that ice enamels on top of that. Sprinkle a little bit on there, add a little bit, hit it with a little bit of that heat, and you could make a really unique look like that too. If you go back one video, you'll see where I have done that over white paint, but you could do it over this too. Also, if you want to check our website at bsuboutiques.com, you will find there is a brand new tutorial by Cindy Seema Edwards, who is on the ice resin team, and she has done some really cool things with the ice resin enamels and ice resin for you to examine. So please come to bsuboutiques.com and click on the tutorials link and find Cindy's tutorial, and feel free to print out a copy for yourself. There are also some good tutorials on swelligant as well. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to show you how I apply the swelligant coating. And a lot of times, and Christy likes to do this too, I've seen her do this, I think it was on her site even. Just get some on your fingertip. I like to work with swelligant on my fingertip. This again is the bronze metal coating This is a piece of the satin matte gold from the Bisou Boutique's website, and we do have plenty of this piece on the website, and you'll see too it's quite malleable, so you can bend it to make a cuff. But here we're going to apply this. See how nicely that goes on? So simple. There's absolutely nothing to it. And as you can see, the bronze coating seems to like to spread very nicely. Of course, now we need to do the back, because see how weird would that look if we didn't, right? So we always want to have a finished product. So we'll apply this to the back. And again, you know, you don't have to get it perfect, because we're looking for an aged look, an antique look, not, you know, perfect. Embrace imperfection. The imperfections in things sometimes enhance their beauty. Sometimes. In my world, usually. Okay, so we've got that on there good enough. So now what are we going to do? Well, we don't really want to leave it like that, I don't think. Would you leave it like that? You could. But I'm not going to. I'm going to get my ugly little buff rag here, which as you can see has seen some miles. And I'm going to just lightly go over this. Okay? Just ever so lightly. And the back too. Now I'm probably smearing more on with my dirty glove. I may have to stop for a minute and get some new gloves. Okay, let's just put it down flat. Alright. How about that? What a difference, huh? We went from this to this. And you know, if you buff this out a good bit, you could probably end up getting a look very similar to the RGP. The closest one I got out of this pile of stuff to the old RGP was this one. That's real close to the old RGP look. I used the brass metal coating for that one. This is a little bit richer. Honest of the two, they're both big favorites of mine. I use the brass, the bronze, and the copper a lot for a lot of applications. But I find myself turning to the bronze most of all. Okay, now we have that. So what if I got a little patina gilder's paste on my brush? And that's dry enough, I can do this. I don't have to wait, okay? Sometimes you have to wait between layers. Not in this case, you don't. Because we buffed a lot of it off, so it's fairly dry. What if I just kind of hit some of the highlights with that? Not all of it, just some. Me likey. You like it too? I do. This is awesome. And you might say, well, Brenda, didn't you always say, why do this over plated brass, especially a higher end finish like this? Why would you do that? In most cases, I would say, yeah, I'm with you. Use the raw. But sometimes the plated brass will give you a richer glow, a more finished look. So there are times when you might want to do that. Now I'm going to buff this out just a little bit. Get some of the excess off. And make it subtle. Get some highlights in there. Oops, I'm going to knock my little cans over here. Alright. I might play with this a little bit more yet, but see, you get the point, don't you? You see what I did. I'm going to put a little bit more here. So simple. Now, if you bend this, and here's how I would do it. I don't believe I've showed you this before, so I'm going to start in the middle with my fingers. Some people say, oh, you got to have a ball bat, or you got to have a rolling pin, or you have to have a bracelet mandrel. Well, that doesn't hurt. We used to sell bracelet mandrels, but honestly, a lot of this stuff you can do with your fingers. See how I started in the middle? And I'm just using my two thumbs. And I'm bending ever so gently. And I'm using the force of this hard table. You need that. Use the force of the hard table underneath you. And you can get a pretty nice bend in this. It's not all wonky and strange. right with your own two thumbs and a hard surface. Okay. And so at this point what I would do is I stick it on. I'm almost there. Wouldn't you say? Almost there. It needs a little bit more bend right here. Right here. On the ends. Okay. Yep. And then I might drill it or hole punch a tiny hole, or I might go through these. And then I could attach chain beads, whatever I wanted to do, and finish my cuff. Or I could apply this over top of another cuff finding. Put a rivet through here maybe, hole and rivet here maybe, or a fine application of glue, whatever suits you. But that's very pretty. And we're done. Okay, let's do something else interesting. Let's do the black paint. So I can show you, it's really very dramatic. And again, I'm just going to put my finger in there. Okay. Because, hey, we don't have to save these gloves. Okay, over it I go. As you can see, there's quite a contrast. And if you were very careful about how you applied this to the high parts, you could maintain the contrast. But for me, I want to get it in the cracks, so now I'm going to start getting tough with it. Excuse me. And I'm going to go down in there. I've got Javi with me today in the workshop along with Rob, and she is watching the video too, because for those of you who've been following the vlog, you can see that I have a workshop apprentice now, and her name is Javi, and she has some basic bead making skills, but we are doing an experiment, and we are chronicling start to finish her experience of learning about the beading world and get her to the place where she can maybe start her own Etsy and have her own business. And I think this would be very interesting for a lot of you. So Javi is right here. You can't see her. Say hi, Javi.
Hello.
Hello. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is coated well enough, I think. So now we're going to take our nasty old rag. Thank goodness for those nasty old rags. And we're going to buff with a circular motion. I want you to be able to see it. So I'm going to try to stay out of my own way so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm raising highlights right back up in it again. But this is a very different look with the black. Javi's shaking her head, yes.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah. And of course we got it on the back too. And you don't have to have it on the back quite as much as you have it on the front, but you do want to get some because it would look strange otherwise. And again, you know, we can't do it all on here for lack of time, but you know, you'll just buff this out really, really nice. The way that, oops, I'm getting kind of out of my, way I got this. I'm going to show you how I got it this olive greenish color. I started out just like this, okay? Okay, now, to get some out of the cracks and stuff, I'm going to go back and I'm going to get a clean brush and I'm going to just start getting in there with the brush. I would not use a Dremel for this because you will go down through the plating. So I would say best way is by hand. I know I have some videos showing how to take verdigris and buff it out with a Dremel. This is not that, so don't do it that way for this. Okay, so that's pretty mellow. I'm just going to take my fingers and kind of rub over that. Get that down a little bit. Okay, just gives you kind of your basic idea. So this is what it looks like now. In case you like it like this, then you might be done. And say, okay, I'll just let this cure for a little while, and then I'm going to go and spray lacquer it. But I'm not done. So again, I'm going to take my brush, and I'm going to go dip into the African bronze gilders. And I'm going to start just playing with this. And this is where it's going to really get rich. I'm hitting highlights. I'm not getting every crevice on this. I'm hitting highlights. Keep getting my arm in the way. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, hitting highlights. And then I'm going to take my finger over that. See how it's turning? But yet, I've still got some of that golden around the edges. And that makes it look so rich. Wipe that off with your finger there. Get some of that. You know, I was at a place where I thought I was about done with Gilder's Paste, and I realized how wrong I was. There's still a long way to go with Gilder's Paste. And I won't be without it. But how lovely is that? How pretty is that? Does that look rich? And then you could take your buff rag and buff in more highlights, however you want. But I wouldn't, again, I would not use a buff wheel. I would not use a Dremel to do it by hand, guys. An old piece of denim will get you some nice highlights. But now remember, we've got to go over the back too. Yeah, just an old piece of rough cloth or denim or something like that. Okay, so there we go. Ojalá que ustedes me entienden. Maybe someday, I hope you understand me, someday maybe we will, I will study up hard so that I could maybe do a nice video for you in Spanish, and maybe that would help you out a little bit. Tal vez un día. Tenemos que ver. We have to see on that. Because I don't know all the jewelry terms yet. But I got a really nice book that'll help me. Or you can help me if you're watching this from Spain or South America. And some have done that. Very cool. Alright. So there we have it. What do you think? That's a big difference, isn't it, from this color to this? But you know, you could do some, you know, like, say we want to put this little dragonfly on there somehow. Maybe in the middle or something. Off this side. It makes a lovely contrast, doesn't it? Yeah. So there's just a few ideas of things you can do over plating. Here's another thing. I spray painted this. This was brass ox. And I put the patina gilders on that. How pretty is that? Just with those brushes. And then this was white spray paint, and we did a little bit of patina over that. Pretty? Okay. That's the patina, this patina. Gilder's Paste. Okay. And then here too, these are some brass ox, very heavily antiqued earrings that I did just a little wash of the patina over. How pretty is that? So pretty. See, that's what it looked like originally. I didn't do the backs in this case. So pretty. So, there are some new ideas for you. I hope you have fun with it. And if you have any questions, you know where I am. And I hope to be back soon with another video showing the Lumiere paints over a cuff, ice enamel, and then the finished coat of ice resin. I had to do a little prep for that, but I hope to be doing that for you soon. But I hope you enjoyed this. Have some fun with it, and we'll see you next time.